You might be wondering where you are currently in your DevOps and cloud computing journey. You have been provisioning services up and about, creating resources on the Amazon Web Service platform. Maybe you're writing Terraform scripts up and about, launching servers, and you don't have any idea what it is you're doing or how to connect the dots. You want to watch this video to the end because I'll take out time to help you clarify some of the things or some of the reasons why you're provisioning some of these services on some of the cloud platforms, and equally effectively navigate yourself through these given cloud platforms. Hello guys, welcome to my YouTube channel. If you're new to this channel, I actually share a lot of resources that can help you get yourself started with DevOps and cloud computing, and I equally share resources that can enable you effectively prepare for DevOps and cloud related interviews. Why not check out some of my past videos with respect to interview preparation, with respect to DevOps skill set, and get yourself well equipped. Now, if you're currently studying DevOps and you're wondering why you're using some of the services, I just want to paint to you the main reason why we are even talking about DevOps or cloud computing. Why do you think companies are moving to the cloud, or why do you think a lot of companies are posting some of these DevOps and cloud related roles? The very first thing that you should have at the back of your mind is that most companies want the possibility to have on-demand services. So rather than them having high cost setting up infrastructural requirements in their given or to meet their new project requirements, they prefer to provision resources on cloud platforms that can give them these services on a pay-as-you-go model. So rather than a company buying heavy compute machines or buying heavy compute resources, they want to go to a platform that will pay, or that they will pay based on the requirements of their given systems. And now there's a lot of flexibility which these cloud providers or which these cloud services offers to companies, which they can use in building most of their applications or meeting out some of their business requirements. So that is why most of companies are looking at moving their resources to the cloud. Now, as far as the cloud is concerned, you're considering how do you have the services provision. What are some of the foundational services that are available on these cloud platforms? Now let's take for example Amazon Web Service. Amazon Web Service as a cloud platform, what are some of the foundational services Amazon Web Service offers? Microsoft Azure, what are some of the foundational services and all of that? And by foundational services, they are the key services which these companies advertise to their users that can meet their most critical application requirements. We are looking at services that can help these companies manage their users, be it developers, be it DevOps engineers, be it auditors, whatever the case. They're looking at the services or the mechanism which they can manage their users on these given cloud platforms. Now, most of these cloud platforms give companies the possibility to create virtual networks or networks within the cloud, which we mostly call virtual networks. And the companies actually have methods through which you can provision these virtual networks as a foundational service. How do we group and resources within the cloud, like in AWS cloud that is vastly available to all customers? How can we create our own private cloud for our company within the Amazon Web Service cloud? That is when you're looking at networking. Now, equally, companies want to be able to manage compute resources at scale, meaning they want to be able to provision compute resources on their various platforms that can help them meet the compute requirements of their given infrastructure or of their applications. So they are looking at foundational services on the Amazon Web Service cloud that can give them the ability to manage compute resources. Now, they equally have services related to storage. They generate tons of data. They generate gigabits of data every month, or petabits, or whatever the case, terabits, whatever the case. How can they manage or store this given sets of data on the AWS cloud and have it properly secure? Now, when you have those foundational services well understood, one of the other key components which you must have a good understanding of is how do we secure all these foundational services we've talked of. If we provision our networks, we provision our compute resources, our database resources, our storage resources, how do we secure these resources in the cloud? That's another very important requirement. So you must be able to master how to secure resources for companies in the cloud. After you've understood these foundational services, go on to look at how to perform security for these foundational services. And now, most companies actually not have a single account on these platforms, and they have not just a single user, they have multiple accounts, several thousands of accounts, maybe depending on the use case, or several hundreds of accounts. How do we centrally manage these accounts at scale? How do we govern these accounts? How do we ensure compliance of our accounts? That's when you want to look at governance of your given environments, and most often you look at governance services, maybe like Control Tower, maybe AWS organizations, or Azure Active Directory to effectively manage users and assets and all of that. Now, equally, most likely, Companies won't want to have their infrastructure provisioned in a way that is not reusable, in a way that cannot be reproduced across environments. That is where the need for infrastructure automation provisioning comes into play. And with this, most companies build systems that can be automated, automatic creation of resources across their different production environments. And you, as a DevOps engineer, as a cloud aspirant, you must be able to understand resources that can help you automatically provision resources for these companies as code. So that's where the use of infrastructure provisioning as code comes into play. So once you've understood how to provision these foundational services, secure them, manage them at scale, you now want to be able to understand how you can automatically provision these services using code, which we call infrastructure as code as far as DevOps and cloud computing is concerned. Now, another very important thing, companies have applications which they build on a regular basis, they perform changes on a regular basis, they perform upgrades on the applications, they meet new business requirements on a daily basis. How do they continuously make sure that the business requirements which are changing on the development side is reflecting with the business requirements which the customers expect at the customer side? So they are looking at possibilities to build a continuous system that can enable them integrate the codes from their given developers or whatever the case, DevOps engineers, site reliability engineers, whatever the case. They're looking at how they can continuously integrate code from these set of engineers to their end users. And that is where you must have an understanding of the various continuous integration and continuous deployment tools that will give you the possibility, or give companies the possibility, to automate the creation and deployment of their critical application and infrastructure across the different platforms. And now a lot of companies are embracing microservice technologies because of its possibilities to have scalable applications across different programming languages. And you must understand technologies that can help you provision or manage container-based services. So once you've provisioned your key foundational service, you secure those services on the cloud, you've been able to provision resources using infrastructure as code, and you continuously integrate and deploy those services, you want to be able to make use of microservices that can help you to provision or automatically deploy containerized applications. And with you managing containerized applications, you look at creating containers, monitoring containers, and scaling containers using different container creation and container orchestration tools like Kubernetes. So once you have this mastery of these services, you can then be able to have practical use case experience that can help you to effectively walk your way through a given cloud environment. Once again, if you're new to my YouTube channel and you're not yet subscribed, please hit the subscribe button and like this video, share this video with someone you think this video can be helpful. Now, after you've had a mastery of all of these different concepts, it is very important for you to go ahead to do a lot of hands-on exercises. Lucky enough, these cloud platforms have a whole lot of exercises that can help you master foundational services, infrastructure as code services, continuous integration, continuous deployment services, containers, and containers orchestration. So you want to invest a lot of time mastering how to gain these practical skills. And now, a lot of people find themselves in a dilemma where they've learned the skills and they are doubting, am I really ready to take the job? Am I ready to go in for an interview? If you're actually ready, or if you actually gain the right skill set, interviewing should not be a problem for you, because interview on its own, like I tell people, is a whole skill. For you to be able to walk recruiters through the interview process, you must master the interviewing skill. So spend a lot of time taking a lot of interviews. Once your resume is ready, or once you've understood these key concepts, you have a resume, you put it out there on job search platforms, do not hesitate to start taking interviews. Once you go for some interviews, you may have first round of interviews, understand some business requirements. In some cases, you might go to second and third and fourth and fifth round of interviews, depending on the companies, where they are trying to understand different requirements based on their company requirement. And with these, as you're being interviewed for different roles, you understand why you're provisioning specific services on the AWS cloud. So once you've had the basic or the fundamental experience necessary, you should spend a lot of time building your hands-on skills while applying or while interviewing for some of these positions. And when you do this, you can be rest assured that within a given period, and when you do some of these things, you can be rest assured that within a given time frame, you should be able to land yourself a good job. You want to check out other videos that I have in my YouTube channel that can help you effectively prepare for your DevOps and cloud related interviews. And equally, I have videos covering different cloud and DevOps related topics. So you want to watch my previous videos, and if you're not yet subscribed again, hit the subscribe button, get yourself up to date in more content which I produce that can help you navigate yourself through the DevOps and cloud computing space.